I'm Estelle Thomson, your mistress of radiance, and this is Walk With Me in Butterfly Alley, a Chic West podcast revival. This is a 10-minute audio series about living a meaningful, sparkly life. One walk, one idea, one story. In each 10 minutes mini episode, I'll share with you what I've been thinking about, what life is teaching me, and maybe a question for your own reflection. So grab a coffee, lace up your shoes, or simply settle in. Let's take a walk together, unfiltered. Welcome to Butterfly Alley. Hello, my butterflies. It's the morning after Tommy's birthday. I woke up at 5:10 because my alarm was on as if I was going to swimming. And I shot up and I was like, wait, what day is it? I was all confused. And then a minute later, one of my dogs threw up on the bed at 5 a.m. It was all so random. So I've been up for a long time, but no matter, I'm a morning person, although I wish I could have slept maybe an hour more. That would have been nice. But at this time, I went to my studio, got my lemon water, got my journal, and was reflecting on this day, of course, June 16th, which has always been such a crossover for me in a way. And it's interesting because Tommy's birthday is also my teacher's Stephanie's birthday, my goddess teacher, Stephanie, which I always thought was very, very auspicious because they are two of my greatest teachers. um, but this year, it was very joyful. It was more of a celebration for me of his birth and everything he has gifted me in terms of wisdom and intimacy with death. And today I want to reflect on yesterday. I made an atlar for him on our kitchen table. It's not the first time that I made an atlar for Tommy. There's usually a permanent one in my studio where I have a picture of him. I have my goddesses, I have my word of the year, I have my mala, I have my little bell from India, I have my water from my Saint Bridget's well. I have my, in French you call them cassins, des petits cassins. And it's actually right next to my meditation chair, my crowned princess chair, where I do pretty much all my journaling, all my meditation. I do a lot of recording on that chair. It's like a very sacred corner of my studio. But I was reflecting on, and when I went for my butterfly alley walk, obviously, how quickly I'm just how natural it is for me to make atlars now. And I've become really increasingly interested in Atlar, not necessarily religious Atlar, though I really love those ones as well. But I've been interested in the many ways that human beings have always made the invisible visible, and obviously, my passion for creativity, but and really how I've been making atlars since I've been a little girl. And how we make atlars in our daily lives without even realizing that we do, like just preparing a table before friends arrive, or just having a photograph of someone we love on the fridge. And I think an atlar really is just an act of attention, and it declares something really important, like this matters, right? You're making something invisible matter in the visible. And making this atlar for Tommy yesterday on my kitchen table, like first it's, I think 3 or 4 years ago, everything sacred really happens in my studio. And I've been working on like, no, actually, this can be my whole house, can be sacred. And that's related to my connection to goddess Lakshmi that I teach about inside Guide to Magic Life. Um, but I've been working on making what I find my personal own sense of like what's sacred into my whole house. So I've been making these like little atlar on my kitchen table, which, as you know, the kitchen is like the heart of a house. Um, and I put all my little kasame, my little, fairy things, and I've been doing that on and off for a few years. But anyway, so yesterday I wanted to do that. And Atlars really love containment. They love a cauldron. They love a vessel. So I have this like little, really low kind of wooden container, and in it I put a picture of Tommy. I got some flowers. I put a beeswax candle. I couldn't find sunflowers. Tommy's flowers are sunflowers, but I got some really nice multicolored rose. And Isaiah and I got a cake the day prior, and I made Isaiah like choose the cake, and we put the cake. And but I always get so fascinated because Scott is not, my husband's not into this world, and he loves when I do that. Like, he came home from work and he's like, "Oh, a picture of Dinky." Like, it's so important. Like, it declares again, Tommy matters. This matters, and I'm making the invisible, which is my grief for him at this time, my sorrow, on June 16th, where it's just such an important day. Like, this human being was born, his aliveness affected my aliveness. And it really speaks to beauty and resonance as like healing balm for your health, healing balm for your hope. And it is truly part of healing that we miss. Like, beauty is a necessity in healing, creativity is a necessity in healing, making invisible things visible.
It's a little wild to think I'm entering my 16th year of teaching my own brand of yoga, Radiance. Radiance Yoga and Dance returns to the practice in Dartmouth on September 2nd, and registration opens August 5th. Every Wednesday evening, we gather to move our bodies, connect with ourselves, and remember what it feels like to be fully alive. Radiance is more than just normal yoga class or dance class. It's a space for self-discovery, connection, and coming home to yourself through movement. Join us in person for yoga, dance, or both. If you're not local to Nova Scotia, you can also join Radiance Yoga online, live or on Zoom, or through the replay library. No experience is required, no perfection is expected, just a willing heart and a body ready to move. You can find all the details at EstelleThomson.com. I would love to welcome you into our radiant community this fall. Now back to our walk.
I think first we need to deconstruct what beauty means for us. And that was a big one for me, right? Because like beauty meant, like, even in terms of like what's beautiful, it's like something that's skinny, something that's symmetrical, something that we only see in magazine. And when I came across the poet's John O'Donoghue's definition of beauty, it all made sense for me, because for him, beauty is about an emerging fullness and a greater sense of grace and depth in our unfolding life. Like, for him, beauty is not, it's not decorative. Like, we have to stop thinking of beauty as decorative or just like lovely. Beauty is literally a calling of the soul, is a homecoming. And I often return to his work in terms of poetry, because it really gives language to something that I felt all my life. And part of my purpose, part of my telos, part of my destiny is that beauty is medicine. Beauty softens our nervous system. Like just having the picture of Tommy there on the kitchen table, it invites me into presence, and it doesn't hide. It stops hiding my loss, and it creates such a beautiful like memoriam. This is why I use atlar making and symbols and visual imagery and poetry and songs to anchor my women's circle. This is why my retreats have healing cycles every day as a symbol. This is why music and playlists and it's literally the soundtrack of all the experiences I offer. This is why I spend months writing and straightening the planner. It's like the planner is the cathedral of it's like what we come back to a guide, and just in my life, like in my personal life, I make the planner for me. Um if you enjoy it too, but like at the end of the day, I want my planner. And I carefully arrange the oracle cards, for each month. There's a part, of course, I control, but there's a part I don't control. And that's part of the beauty and resonance field that you can co-create with the universe. And so as I was putting together Tommy's Atlar yesterday, it just dawned on me that transformation really happens through beauty and resonance, and that Atlar really gets to contain all this emotion that I have on that day and makes it visible for everybody else in my household to admire. It creates harmony in my house. And it's so subtle, right? But it brings safety to this day. Um, and as I mentioned, beauty and harmony. In a culture that really prioritizes speed and productivity and like efficiency, making atlars in your life, it feels very radical and rebellious. Um, we live, I believe that. I believe we live by symbols and beauty and rituals, and atlar making definitely is one that is the synergy of all that has the power to hold space for our love and our losses. And that's an art. To miss beauty and resonance as a role, it's to miss the whole point of healing. There's so much beauty in that. And if we can if we allow our space for the spaciousness of the beauty that's already around. I had that picture. I had the wooden container. Yeah, I did get the cake, but Isaiah was with me. It was actually like really sweet that we did that, together. I had the candle, I had the matches. So I'm wondering today, is there somewheres in your house a little corner, a little shell that you can create a little atlar space with things that matter to you? Perhaps it's your word banner. Perhaps it's a picture of someone that's really in your heart right now. Perhaps it's leaves or flowers of the day. Perhaps it's little trinkets that are in your drawers, but that feels really sacred to you. Let me know how your atlars go, and maybe even tag me on social so I can see your little guide to magic life corners. Love you so much. See you next time.